Arnie Palmy alert.
Beep. Trevor Lawrence got paid by the Jacksonville Jaguars in one of the most unceremonious contract extensions of the offseason, maybe. I mean, just tucking that away on a Thursday in June. You do you, Jaguars. But he's making upwards of $55 million per year, which greatly eclipses Kyler Murray's contract extension from 2 years ago. And I think that's where we start the show today, Bo. What will age better, K1's deal or Trevor Lawrence?
I mean, I think that's a simple Kyler Murray, isn't it? I mean, Kyler Murray, I think what the Jaguars did was necessary. Obviously, when you got a guy that you believe is your franchise quarterback, you got to pay him franchise quarterback money. And Trevor Lawrence was next in line. But then you see him, and we saw this with Kyler, where Kyler was coming off the playoff performance against the Los Angeles Rams, and us close to the situation can see the nuance in that Kyler Murray also was deserving of that because of where he was in his rookie deal, and he was next up in the line at that time for an extension, and what he put on display earlier that season that he could tap in and play at an MVP caliber clip, where I think Trevor Lawrence still has a lot to show, not only the Jacksonville Jaguars, the AFC South and the NFL, that when you are in kind of line for that payday, like your franchise is kind of stuck by picking up the tab on that. And when you look at it right now, how large the number is where he's going to make $55 million, and it makes you kind of you're taken back by it. He's making $55 million per year, just like Joe Burrow, who's been to a Super Bowl. I can see why people are skeptical and they see the hesitation or would want to be more hesitant. But I mean, this is the price of doing business in the NFL.
Well, and what's the alternative? You're the Atlanta Falcons and you're overdrafting an injured Michael Penix and you're overpaying Kirk Cousins. You want to live that life.
You're already in NFL purgatory in Jacksonville. You don't want to continue your stay there by restarting your search for your franchise quarterback. I mean, that's what you would be staring down.
And for those that scoff at the idea that Kyler Murray is better than Trevor Lawrence, you don't know ball. I'm just going to respectfully say that. Kyler Murray's best statistical season is far better than Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence plays, let's just call it in the mediocre, if not the worst division in the NFL, in the AFC South. Before Houston's return to prominence this year, the AFC South was easily the worst division in the NFL. Whereas Kyler Murray plays with, after Pete Carroll left, 3 Hall of Fame potential head coaches in Sean McVay, Kyle Shanahan, and Pete Carroll. That's what Kyler Murray's had to endure in Arizona, going up against those guys with a college head coach. Trevor Lawrence at least has, a Super Bowl winning head coach in Doug Peterson. And if you want to sit there, Jaguar fans or, Trevor Lawrence truthers, and say, well, Trevor Lawrence won a playoff game. Trevor Lawrence won a playoff game against what I believe unequivocally was the worst coach in the NFL in Brandon Staley. Whereas Kyler Murray lost a playoff game, his lone playoff appearance, to what many believe is the second best coach in the NFL behind Andy Reid and Sean McVay, en route to that Rams team winning the Super Bowl. It is not comparable. Kyler Murray in the AFC South during Trevor Lawrence's time wins the AFC South maybe multiple times, hosts multiple playoff games. It's not all equal here. Dak Prescott once upon a time was a 4th rounder that inherited a loaded team in Zeke and rode the run game to the postseason. Congratulations. Kyler Murray took an offense that was statistically one of, if not the worst offense in modern NFL history, got them back to respectability. They're 500 the next year. The next year they make the playoffs. I like Trevor Lawrence. I think it's the right move.
Yeah.
Kyler Murray is easily, and we said this at the time, we did an emergency podcast 2 years ago when Kyler Murray signed this deal and people freaked out. It will only age better. And as you told me before the show, Bo, there are multiple guys are on deck to get additional extension.
Yeah.
Kyler Murray could be knocked out of the top 10 here pretty soon.
Yeah, award-winning producer Damon Dog. Can we see the list and where Kyler Murray falls now and just annual salary per year? Joe Burrow up at the top along with Trevor Lawrence at $55 million. Jared Goff, who just got extended earlier this offseason at $53 million. Justin Herbert at $52.5 million. That's fourth. Lamar Jackson at 52 million, Jalen Hurts at 51. And then down here at seventh is Kyler Murray at 46.1 million per season. Just average salary on that $230.5 million extension that kicks in this year. Deshaun Watson at 46 million, and Deshaun Watson has the most guaranteed money of all these because every dollar of his $230 million extension is guaranteed. And then on the bottom here, next up, some names to kind of keep tabs on the rest of the NFL offseason as it's kind of on hiatus. Jordan Love with the Green Bay Packers, Tua with the Miami Dolphins, and Dak with the Dallas Cowboys. Kyler Murray could very well, by the start of the 2024 season, be 10th in average annual salary with the Arizona Cardinals.
Yeah, this Kyler Murray, to me, give me him over a large majority of these players listed. Like I feel like Kyler Murray over Dak, Tua, Jordan Love is a no-brainer. Deshaun Watson, that's going to be a disaster. Jalen Hurts, Kyler Murray beat Jalen Hurts head-to-head last year with a far less superior team, talent-wise. Like, again, Kyler Murray at $46 million in a salary cap that is going to continue to explode. Like, do you know, Bo or Damon, what was the salary cap this past year? Like the total figure.
Was it 230?
Yeah, I was going to say like 230, 240. If I go to overthecap.com and I go to the salary cap total
220, I thought.
Yeah,
actually.
Right around there. So you're paying the guy that carries this franchise at times, I don't know, I'm not a mathematician, like 20% of that or 25%, not even. I mean, it's just, that's a steal for Kyler Murray.
Well,
if Kyler Murray has the kind of year we expect him to have,
now it's 255. And, you know, Kyler Murray, this is going to be the largest chunk. He's going to absorb the salary cap where it's going to be, you know, just about 20%, but it's only going to shrink. I mean, the cap's going to go up. It went up an unprecedented 30 million this offseason from last year, from 224 million to 255 million. And it's going to continue to go up significantly because there's going to be new TV deals, more money infused in the league. And Kyler Murray is going to make, probably by the end of his deal, I would say Kyler's making about 16% of the cap. And I think
that's fair.
That's what you want for your franchise quarterback.
The Cardinals aren't
you're taking a guy on a 1 or 2 year flyer and hoping that he works out. But if you have a guy that's entrenched as your leader, like Kyler Murray is, I mean, you're set up pretty well going forward. And that's why, you know, when you look at the market and the price, and you know, you kind of get shocked by the sticker price of it. But you have to take in all these variables about, one, the price of paying a quarterback, two, that the cap is going to go up inevitably, and like three, I mean, as far as that, the percentage of cap that it's going to take up if you do it right is going to only go down as that contract ages, and quarterbacks are going to get ahead of you on that list. And you're seeing that, you know, I think that there's far, you know, more like, I guess, less bigger bets that are being made, like bigger long shots as far as whether that money is money well spent. I know with Trevor Lawrence, like you and I say, you got to do it, right? If you're the Jacksonville Jaguars, but if you're looking at Dak Prescott and the Dallas Cowboys, I mean, at some point, Dallas has to ask themselves, like, do they pull what the Minnesota Vikings did?
Doesn't it feel like that's where that's headed?
Right. I mean, and you have to, you know, thank your lucky stars that that's not what Kyler Murray's, you know, done to this franchise. Now, we got a lot more to learn about him in the Jonathan Gannon regime and under this new infrastructure that he's playing in. But like, I think you can pretty well say that, you know, Dak, and along with Kirk Cousins as well, they struggled in the big moments. Like they statistically, you could make the case for them, say, hey, look at their resume, it's impressive, you know, and you need a quarterback, but there is a definitive ceiling there for those guys. And you know, I think Kyler Murray's got that extra gear that can save him from being lumped in with quarterbacks like that.
I totally agree, and I can't wait. Like Rick in the chat points it out, don't forget about Brock Purdy. Like, please, Kyle Shanahan, give Brock Purdy $60 million per year. Like, There's already talk that they're going to have to part ways with Debo and or Ayuk. And so that's going to become Brock Purdy's team. Like this is Kyler Murray's team. The difference is Kyler Murray has the talent to elevate. Brock Purdy, frankly, has to be elevated. That's the most loaded team in the NFL.
Right.
How
many games does Brock Purdy win down the stretch with this Cardinals roster last season?
1, maybe. If that. I mean, I'm sorry, just being transparent. Like Kyler Murray's contract might get revisited in a couple of years if he plays well. And I think he'll have earned it, clearly. Like if they go on a tear for 2 years and he gets them to the postseason back-to-back, they'll revisit that. Of course they will. And they should. Just like the Detroit Lions in the Stafford trade inherited Jared Goff's contract. Just like Austin Ford and Gannon inherited Kyler Murray's contract. And what happened? Goff proved to everybody over the course of 3 seasons, like, I'm the guy still. Like Kyler Murray, we hope has an opportunity to do and will do. And they revisited his contract. That's why he's getting $53 million a year. So this is the prime time for the Cardinals to achieve roster balance with his contract because they're not paying anybody, right? Like the Jaguars have the highest cap hit on the team this year. Christian Kirk's making like $24 million with no state tax in Jacksonville. That's good. That's good living if you can get it. The Cardinals are paying nobody. They're paying Buda Baker as their highest paid player who's off the books this year. D-Hop's off the books, right? Their best players that we're going to talk about, these breakout players, are all on their rookie contracts. Right. I mean, like, they had to pay, Justin Jones and some other players, the defensive linemen, they'd overpaid a smidge in free agency. But these are marginal deals. The Jonah Williams deal, the defensive line deals of the free agency back in March, 2 years max guaranteed. Nothing that's going to hamper you. I'm going to say it right now. The Cardinals do not have one bad contract on the roster. Now, you couldn't say that this time last year. You're trying to squeeze it out, trying to figure out what you had. But, like, even if things don't work out with Zaven Collins, okay, he's off the books after this year. They want to pivot off of him, even though I think try to bring him back at a team-friendly deal that makes sense for everybody. You're not, overpaying somebody like DJ Humphries. Unfortunately for him, they had to part ways with him. They're a little bit of dead money. Like, this team, the infrastructure of this team at the premium positions, tackle, defensive line, quarterback, and corner, all super team friendly. Yeah. Oh, your best wide receivers making like no money for 4 years. It's great.
Right. And anybody who's going to foolishly say like Trevor Lawrence is you're better off with Trevor Lawrence than Kyler Murray is a non-knower of ball.
They don't know
ball. Just straight up. I mean, does Trevor Lawrence look like he was created in a lab to play football? He's a 6'4", strong-armed, athletic specimen. Yes, but has he lived up to the hype? No. That's why you see, Jacksonville Jaguars fans kind of uneasy with this deal. But when you look at it, I mean, Kyler Murray just overall, I mean, obviously Kyler's drafted in 2019 and Lawrence is drafted in 2021. And he's got, 15 more games than Lawrence because of the injury that took K1 out for a significant chunk. But like per game, Kyler's 240 passing yards per game. That Lawrence is 235 passing touchdowns per game. Takes care of the football incredibly well, where Trevor Lawrence does not. And then you've got the rushing aspect. Like Kyler Murray is way more dynamic on the ground, and what he brings as far as just not just statistically, but game planning wise. Like Trevor Lawrence can't do the things that Kyler Murray can do, despite having a little bit more size to him.